every time you go and step even outside the US, there's a different level to what Leo brings, with him in terms of fans. There's thousands of people on the streets, and there's people waiting outside on the way to the hotels. The way Leo makes people feel, right, when he plays soccer, or what he did throughout his career. And I have such a tremendous amount of respect for that, and how much emotions he brings out in people to really show up like that and see him. They're out there chanting his name in front of the hotel up until 11 p.m. And it's incredible, where police has to remove them from the hotel site just because they need to stop chanting the name and everything. Like it's incredible to kind of see those types of images and just get these experiences.
Welcome back to the Player Manager Podcast. It's time for season 2, and big news. This is now my full-time job because Football Manager 25 has been canceled. So I have basically nothing else to do. You're going to get sick of me, Julian. But hello, my beloved co-host. How are you doing?
Hello. Welcome back. Happy New Year. It's way too late to say that, but
hey, it's Happy New Year on this podcast. So
yes, it is. We're back. I know it's been too long. Excited to be back. Excited to head to season 2, and my condolences for what is happening to Football Manager 2025. Really sad.
I'm right in the middle of it, as I have to be. I made a video about it. It became a big topic of conversation. But to sum it up, I'm just sad. I like playing video games. I don't know if you'd be able to guess this. And we have a great show for you, but I'm going to get distracted before we get there. How many hours do you think I played Football Manager 24? Steam, which is the
total
website. Yeah, total.
Or per day.
So it gives you a total, like on Steam, it gives you a total playtime count. And so I have, just for Football Manager 2024. Obviously you have no ballpark for this, so this is going to be tough. If you get close, it'll be really impressive.
I need like a calculator first, because I need to calculate 24, how many hours there are in a year.
Oh, okay.
How many hours are there in a year?
I should know that off the top of my head. Let me get our incredibly large production team on this, otherwise known as me Googling a calculator. So 24 hours times 365. There are 8,760 hours in a year.
Okay, so half of that, let's say you were training for a marathon, you were sleeping, 8,000. So I'm going to go 3,000-ish.
Damn.
3,200.
Only 1,684. You did. I thought you were going to go way low. I'm kind of sad looking at that. I'm like, wow, I spent, a sixth of my year playing Football Manager. Because that makes sense for making so many videos.
I was on the high end.
You were. And you know what's crazy is there are people that actually, they'll try and 4.6 hours per day. We have a new, we've leveled up this season. We have a new producer this season who's teamed up with our old producer, Michael. And he has done the math there. 4.6 hours a day I've played Football Manager. Fortunately, some of that time is me simulating it, like going to get something. I don't have to be at my computer for all of it. Mom, I swear I'm not just wasting my entire life playing the game. But yes, another year waiting for the game is going to suck. But we've had very exciting, adventures around the world in the time that you haven't been talking to us. We're going to talk about all of that. And we also have a bunch of questions from you guys that we've saved up. And of course, the Super Bowl just happened. And some of you are Americans, some of you aren't. But fortunately, we're accommodating in both directions. Julian, how into the Super Bowl have you become?
Pretty into it. Yeah, I'm a big NFL guy. I think I watch as much as I can. I try to, weekends are tough with the kids sometimes to really have the TV on and really sit down, but play fantasy football, obviously, which I didn't do so well in this year.
Same.
That's all we need to say about it. And yeah, so obviously I'm watching, but I wanted to watch this one obviously because of the potential three-peat and my beloved Patriots. The Eagles did them a little bit of a favor, I feel like. So that was nice to kind of see the Eagles win and not have the Chiefs go 3 in a row.
I'm a big believer that Tom Brady's voodoo magic is better than Patrick Mahomes. That's what's convinced me here, because Mahomes is 3-0 in Super Bowls that don't involve Tom Brady at all. He played him and lost.
Yeah.
And then Brady's announcing the game and he loses again. So I think the Patriots are safe on all fronts because Tom Brady is he's the expert. Mahomes is the apprentice, like a Padawan, until he turns into Darth Vader. Whoever gets that reference, thank you. Star Wars, where we had Messi, Suarez, and Busquets and Jordi Alba go to the game. I guess you got invited and you were busy, right? That's how that works. They went to the
Yeah, I had to stay home. Yeah.
they went to the Super Bowl, and they posted a picture from the Super Bowl that I definitely saw and went mega viral. And the most liked, it actually turned out, the most liked piece of content from the NFL over the course of the entire game was Messi's arrival. Does this mean soccer is conclusively bigger than the NFL?
Well, isn't that what all Americans usually say, that the Super Bowl is like the biggest sporting event in the world? Well,
Yeah.
newsflash, it's definitely not, people.
No.
Messi's arrival at the Super Bowl is bigger than that. So.
Look, I love NFL, obviously, and I've loved it my whole life, and I played and everything, but I love America in a lot of ways. One of those ways that I don't is all of the people because I have to wear that. I come on this podcast, I come on the stream, I go on YouTube videos, whatever. I'm the token American, and all these people are like, "Why do you keep saying that?" I was like, "I'm not saying it. I know." The problem is, for most of the people, like, I'm sure you might have seen the clip of all the people being asked, what's bigger, the World Cup or the Super Bowl? That was blowing up everywhere.
I think
they were walking around at the convention thing at the Super Bowl, and they're getting these poor guys from rural Missouri, right, that are standing there going, "Well, I think it's the Super Bowl. I just think it's a little harder to win," and you're just like, well, I mean, the guy's never watched a game of soccer in his life, so I don't blame those people, right? But I would like to put it out there always and forever that I know that that football is bigger than other football, than our football, and that the World Cup is bigger than the Super Bowl. And honestly, I'm surprised that these people from rural Missouri can get under the skin of football watchers all over the world as much as they do. Because these people seem very bothered that these Americans that have never watched a game of soccer think that the Super Bowl's bigger.
But the Super Bowl is getting a lot bigger in Europe.
Really?
And I think or the NFL in general, I mean, they're expanding more and more games obviously out, but I think the playing football won the NFL, and then now the Super Bowl. I mean, my brother, for example, he took off work today so he could watch last night, get up in the middle of the night and really enjoy it. At 5 a.m. he went to bed, he said, and watched it all, even though it was quite the boring second half, I thought. You obviously had, I think I saw you on X, right? You had a little something about people reaching out.
I did.
Or people, you asking a little questions.
Well, friend of the channel, what spurred it was Fiago, who, if you've listened to all of the episodes, you met him. He came on the podcast. Great guy, football content creator. He was tweeting about NFL, and he'd never watched a game before. So he had a lot of funny takes, like they took a knee at the end of the game, and he went, "That's not fair. You can just run the clock down without giving the ball to the other team." You're like, I never thought about it that, I guess. But I put out a tweet because I realized there were a lot of Fiagos out there. And I just said, I know a lot of the non-American homies are watching their only game. I got you. Ask your NFL questions here, and I'll answer as many as I can. There were a couple of striking ones, obviously. One, and some were thought-provoking, like, do kickers earn good money? Because I'm fairly certain that most semi-professional footballers could do that job pretty well. And honestly, I kind of agree with that one. Like, could you be a kicker in the NFL? Maybe.
I mean, if I trained for like a good few months, I feel like, yeah. I mean, I can kick the ball pretty far, I think. So I wanna take the glass half full on this one, and be confident about it.
I know Brandon Aubrey, who is the player for he's the kicker for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know how many people are familiar with this story. Brandon Aubrey was a soccer player. And this, honestly, to me, sounds like something that could happen to you. So just keep this in the back of your mind for whenever your footballing career ends. He was sitting on the couch, and he played, I think he was a reserve player in MLS, but he fell off. He wasn't quite good enough. He played at a high level in college. And he's sitting there watching NFL, and his wife, who doesn't watch sports, is watching it with him. In much the same way that my mom would watch a professional soccer match and go, "Oh, you can totally do that," right? Like, yeah, I've seen you do better than that or something. As a goalkeeper would make a mistake. His wife is sitting there and goes, "Oh, you could do that." Like, watching the kickers kick the field goals and stuff. And Brandon Aubrey just goes, "Sure, why not?" Trains for 2 years, signs for the UFL, makes every kick he takes. And now he's one of the best kickers, if not the best kicker in the NFL. About 4 or 5 years after his wife said that while sitting on the couch. So that might be your future.
What a great story. I know. I honestly punting, I think, would be more of my interest.
Really? Well, it's a lot lower
Yeah, I don't
pressure too,
know.
which I'm not saying that you were like trying to
A little
avoid
bit.
pressure,
No,
but
but
kickers have their lives ruined if they happen to miss one kick sometimes.
I mean, usual punters are also holders, so that, for kicks. So that's actually quite an important job as well. So, um, but I've been looking at that, and sometimes when I get a football in my hands and there's a little bit of room, I try to punt one and try to make it spiral perfectly. But um, somebody has to teach me the proper technique at some point, or at least tell me about it, and then I'll try it a little bit more serious, I guess. But
Ah.
hey, if the New England Patriots need somebody, I'm available to
It's a
try out.
shame.
Let's just say
Shame
that.
Bill Belichick's not still there. I feel like he might be crazy enough to try that if the opportunity presented itself. Okay, another good one. Is Travis Kelce actually good, or just an above-average player who's famous because he's dating Taylor Swift? It's a tough one to answer. I said he was good, but he got old. Is that
I think he's
okay?
good. Yeah.
That being said, he is now more famous for dating Taylor Swift, and I think that his football career has basically taken a backseat to that. Oh, that's fair. And maybe the best one, why ain't the ball round? But I feel like that is a little Inglorious Bastards-esque if you've ever seen it, when the guy holds up because he uses the word ain't. So I'm pretty sure this is American just trolling, but why ain't the ball round, Julian? Why
Yeah.
ain't it round?
Because it wouldn't fly as good, right? It wouldn't fly as far.
I said
Right? You got to throw it.
they ain't throw a round ball well. That was my answer. So
Yeah.
I hope that
Yeah,
was
exactly.
Oh,
Same.
okay, yeah. I ain't throw a round ball well, but I'm glad the world's getting into football. I got to watch NFL in London, and it was really interesting to see people be British type fans for NFL teams, and they're just all wearing these. I'm like, why did you pick the Jaguars? Like, what you just chose a life of pain. That was an interesting life choice. And then they would be sitting there, screaming the names of all the people I recognize. It's cool. And I can't wait for more of those abroad games. Maybe we'll be able to make a video out of them someday. But you've been up to a lot, obviously, in between the last time we recorded and right now. And part of that is my favorite concert series, the Lionel Messi Inter Miami World Tour that hits every preseason. So what did you get to do before that started up? Because that's obviously been going for a while. How did you take your time off?
How did I take my time off? I have to think back.
Yeah, 3 lifetimes ago.
Honestly, it was yes, that's what it feels like. Oh no, honestly, it was a good break. It was just the right time. Honestly, it was obviously a long season that we had. It started with the world tour that we had a year ago, and ended a little bit too early, obviously for our liking in terms of playoffs. But we honestly we stayed here. We stayed put. The kids were in school. We did Christmas at home. We did I think we talked about this one of the last episodes, a trip to Disney. But then for the most part, we stayed put. We went to the Dominican Republic for 1 week of
Hey.
vacation. Um, I know you were just
Yeah,
there. We'll talk about
I
that
didn't get to
soon.
go any of the
Yeah.
beaches though. I'd imagine you were beaching it up.
Yeah, so we were just at a resort, just 1 week of just chill out time, and my family from Germany came with us, so that was amazing to have them here. And then, yeah, we did Christmas here, and we just, the rest of the time, just kind of enjoyed the really great weather,
Oh, yeah.
honestly,
Thanks for that.
and yeah, just needed some chill family time, and it was a really good off season. Obviously, did my fair share of workouts, snuck in there, and to get ready for now the next preseason
Mm.
tour that we obviously have.
Yeah. Well, that's important to throw in for the Inter Miami fans, for the Messi fans that are listening, to just you stayed fit. You can be another competitive season
Oh
from
yeah.
Julian Gressel, obviously.
Well, it's always the case, when your body's not meant to just shut down for 3 months or 2 months all of a sudden, and then go fully intense again. When the time comes, you have to keep yourself ticking over, and the off season is a great time to actually do a lot more strength workouts for the legs, and really kind of take care of some imbalances in your body, and do some more in-depth body work in that sense. So it was a really good time for me to hit the gym and get running as well. And you don't touch the ball as much, unfortunately, but you kind of take care of everything else a little bit on the physical side of it, to then be ready for really the next 10, 11 months.
Yeah, same. except not at all. Definitely the post-marathon diet has been exclusively hamburgers and chocolate
Okay.
bars, and that's okay. I did that after the last marathon and then ended up getting back to being able to run another one. So I tend to
Nice.
maybe reason 3078, I'm not a professional athlete. I tend to go with a big boomer bust strategy, and we are firmly in the bust category because unlike you, it's like -5 degrees outside right now. So would you go outside?
That's cold.
Yeah. No, it needs
Probably not. No.
snowing. Ugh.
Yeah.
I belong back in Florida. That's where my heart is. But where did you go? We'll get into some details from the trip later, but just so that we're caught up on the logistics, where'd the tour take you this time?
Oh, first trip was Vegas. Good old Las
Oh,
Vegas. Played against Club America. Second trip was that Peru? I think. Yeah, second trip was Peru. Third trip now was Panama. Yeah, Panama. Panama City for a game, and now we were just in Honduras, and that I think concluded the 3 games that we were away, and now we'll be in Tampa. I think your hometown. We'll
oh,
be there next week to kind of finish up preseason.
I'll tell my parents to go. We can make this a whole little
Yeah,
kumbaya. And my mom, an avid listener
absolutely,
of this podcast, huge fan. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, she should
Always
come.
ask me why I don't do my hair like Julian Gressel. And I'm like, well, I don't know if my hairline would let me do that. But maybe someday we'll see what happens. Your coach, excellent segue. Your coach for this tour. Oh my god, your coach for this tour. So I can't. You have a new coach, Julian Javier Mascherano. We haven't really been able to talk about the fact that he is there. Obviously, this is more of the Messi kind of getting his guys in place. How has that transition been? Because you go from a manager that you have played for before, you have this long relationship with, to now you're back at square one, the same as any 9-year-old that joins the U10 team, trying to get to know the coach and feel out how they want you to play and how they work and what makes them tick.
Well, first of all, I was hoping that you would throw your application in so I could make a case for you to be my
I'm
manager.
sorry.
You know,
I
that would have been a pretty big standoff between Messi and I to get our guys in. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Yeah, look, all I'm saying is Real Madrid has let me know when Ancelotti's retiring, so I might be holding out. I can't confirm or deny.
But no, I think from what I've gotten to know, obviously the coaching staff now for quite some time and some weeks, and it's been really good. I mean, he's a world class player, obviously that knows a lot about the game, that has played under the best coaches in the world during his playing career, and now he's trying to implement that as a coach. And he's obviously still young and somewhat inexperienced, but at the same time, he's been really good. Honestly, the whole staff has been they're good people. They're very open to the American culture, to us American players on the team as well. So they're not just focused on the South American side and kind of the people that they know, but they've been very, very good in terms of coming in, adapting to a new culture and kind of just being good people. And Mascherano himself, he has good ideas and a good way to play, and it's really interesting to work under him and kind of obviously get a different perspective again on for a new coach. So I want to say it's been good so far. We've had some more in-depth conversations together, also about my role on the team, um, and what that might look like moving forward and everything. But it's been, yeah, again, nothing but really good things to say about the whole thing.
And how's that shaping up? How's your role maybe changing from what it was before?
Yeah, like I said, I think we had a really good conversation where he was speaking to me from a player's perspective, and he knows. He obviously was in my shoes before and everything, and kind of has experience in that side of it. So he was really honest about everything. I'm not going to really go into too much detail of what that entailed and what that would look like, or what he exactly said, just because I kind of want to keep that to myself a little bit. But again, it was a really good conversation, and our relationship is great. It's been really good from the beginning, and yeah, we'll kind of just see how the season shapes up and how this all goes moving forward.
But now that you've started working with Javier Mascherano, you end up on this tour, and the first game's in Vegas. First, I have to ask: did you do any gambling? Just light $20 at the blackjack table. It's hard to resist. They're like right in the lobby.
Yeah, I did.
Hey, how'd it go? How'd it go? Is there a new car in the driveway? Or?
No, I wish. I wish. No, I lost. How much did I lose? About $200. Maybe.
That's. I mean, relative to what some of the players probably pulled off, I'm sure that's a very reserved output.
Yeah, I did the classic. I was up for quite a little bit in the beginning, and then it just came crumbling down as you get greedy, and it just then you can't stop. So
they had TwitchCon in Vegas actually one time, and then they swore they'd never do it again. But I had to go, and it was the only time I've ever been there. And I walked in. I think it was $500, and I went, if I lose this, I'm not gambling anymore. And I got all the way down to $5, and then won my way back up almost to the 500. And even though I ended up losing like $50, it felt electric. Would 100% recommend.
That's amazing. What a thrill.
Oh yeah. Best.
No, I was at these tables, like we were there so quick. So I was at these tables for like, I don't know, maybe like 30, 45 minutes max. Like I didn't want to stay there too long, obviously before the game, and just kind of for the experience.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Was it your first time?
First time in Vegas. Yeah. Didn't even go to the strip or anything though. Just literally the hotel. And then there's like an underground kind of casino type area. And yeah, it's where I was in my hoodie and just playing a little bit of roulette, I think. Yeah.
Just put it all on black. Easy. I've seen that in a movie one time.
Yeah.
Did anything stand out on the field over the first couple of matches besides, the off-field rampant gambling that I'm sure is going to spark massive headlines?
Well, I think we can talk a little bit about comparisons to last year's games, right? I think preseason, I think that would probably be appropriate. I mean, the Club America game was really high level, I thought, right away at the first game. And that's somewhat how the last year's games felt as well, where it's not your typical preseason games where, you make changes at halftime, everybody plays. And no, it was serious games, that you wanted to win and that you wanted to do well. And obviously there's a lot of people at those games, and you have a lot a lot of TV eyes on you in that sense. And the opponent is good and all those types of things. So I want to say last year was certainly a little bit different just because we were gone for so long and we were just on this world tour, like just the team, and we were out of the country. And this year we've been at home the whole time. We've trained at our training facility every single training session and have only traveled to the games there and back, right away, just like regular MLS away trips. So that's been honestly really, really different than from what I'm used to in preseason, but also really nice because you get to spend a lot more time with the family.
Probably refreshing, honestly.
Yeah, so you're not on the road for these 2-3 week blocks. And but at the same time, Club America was a good game.
Hidalgo. Good ball. The run in by Rodriguez. It's in. Chips that cross towards the far post. Not fully cleared. Back in. Messi scores. Suarez to Messi. The cross in. Rocario's Novo came out, flapped at it, and there might be a chance here. They go for goal. There is. It's all Rios Novo and in. Julian Gressel once again over it. Everybody forward. Whipped in delivery. Alvarez scores. What a delivery that was from Gressel, and the deftest of touches from Aviles.
In Peru was a great game.
The altitude Panama, too bad in Peru? I know that's something that can get you.
No, it wasn't bad. Okay. No, it was on the Zealand. Yeah,
you dodged the bullet on that one.
Yeah. But yeah, so again, those trips, and what always is so eye-opening to me is every time, after you don't experience it for a while, but every time you go and step even outside the US, there's a different level to what Leo brings, with him in terms of fans and what experiences you have. There's thousands of people on the streets waiting for us. Every security guard at the airport, I feel like, is pulled up to our our plane to try and get us off the plane and help us just so they could sneak a picture or video. Then there's people waiting outside on the way to the hotels, people waiting at the hotels. Obviously the games are crazy, and it just always, brings me to a place where I'm, the way Leo Messi makes, and then obviously all the other three are made, makes people feel right when he plays soccer, or what he did throughout his career. And that is, I have such a tremendous amount of respect for that, and how much emotions he brings out in people to really show up like that and see him like that. They might not see him for a second, but they're out there chanting his name in front of the hotel up until 11 p.m. and then early again at 9 a.m. Like, it's just, it's incredible, where police has to remove them from the hotel site just because they need to stop chanting the name and everything. Like, it's incredible to kind of see those types of images and just get these experiences. It's really cool.
How do they react to everybody else on the team? Like, obviously they're waiting for Leo Messi, but once Messi and Suarez have kind of walked into the hotel and you guys are walking in, is there like a residual? You signed in a bunch of autographs when you're over there.
I could, yes. I think they obviously recognize that I'm a player. Like, where was it? I think it was in one of the places that we went to. I went to the hotel gym because I knew I wasn't starting. So in the morning, I went to the hotel gym to do like a little activation lift. I think it was in Panama. And there was like regular guests, right, in the lobby and everywhere. And they obviously always, so when we travel with hotels, we still always just use the service elevators so that regular guests can't really access us in elevators. And to go to the gym, I was like, no, I'm gonna go in the regular elevator. Like, I'm not that big of a player, I can do this. And I went down there, and like 2 security guards like immediately came with me, and honestly had to stand in front of the gym so that people wouldn't come in, or like mostly kids wouldn't come in and just like ask for autographs and ask for pictures while I was doing like a little activation lift or just a little core session, that type of stuff. And so you still get reactions. Some people call me Taylor. Some people call me Gressel. So, you get confused.
Do you get any Tony Cruz shouts while you're walking around?
No, there's still players on the team. So there's some people, like, not everybody recognizes actually who I am and knows who I am, but they know that I'm a player, and then they end up wanting a picture or wanting an autograph. So, it's mostly kids and mostly, nothing too harassing or anything like that.
That's nice. Just you're like Ringo in the Beatles. You're still on the team. That's what counts.
Yes.
And things got a little heated on the field too, because I saw one clip, and I've appreciated this era from Lionel Messi. He's in his like IDGAF era, which is a nice thing to confuse any grandparents listening, right? He is definitely not taking any, nonsense from anybody. And that kicked off in Panama because everybody tries to go hard at Lionel Messi because they want to be the person that tackled Leo Messi, but they were really roughing him up in the way that, the Panamanian players typically do in CONCACAF competition as well. Honestly, that's just something they bring. And Leo Messi was talking back, and of course, everybody flies in. What's that sort of stuff like when you're field level?
Yeah, a little bit like, whoa, what's happening? I didn't expect that out of these types of games. That tackle, oof. But I think I was sitting on the bench, and I said it to one of the guys. I was like, Leo is like world class in avoiding these types of tackles. It's insane. It's so underrated for him to just like see it coming and then just lift his body off or jump out of the way or anything like that. I think all of his career he's kind of done that. People try and kick him all the time, and he's been so good at avoiding any major injuries like that. And that slide tackle there is certainly something. And then it gets heated, and we're competitors, and even in those types of friendly games, when somebody goes after you like that, it's not okay. And then you saw obviously how it transpired, and guys come to protect him, and rightfully so. The team stood behind kind of our guy, right, in Leo, and we are ready to kind of protect him in that sense. But he also protected himself in a way with how he continued to play, and so it's certainly a little bit eye opening that something like that would happen in a preseason friendly that is more of a celebration match type thing, especially for Leo. But at the same time, it is Panama, or it was Panama, and it kind of brought out the not so great side of those types of games, I guess.
Yeah, it's the intensity in the circus that you were talking about, and it's not even just the people on the field, right? There was, I think it was Yassine got slide tackled by a fan. Yes. Messi's bodyguards even catching the hard tackles. Did you get a good view of that? It was somebody running on the field and they slipped and just cleaned out Yassine.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I think he got hit with his head or something like that. I don't know, but it was hilarious. So he showed me, I think, the video after the game. He was laughing about it, and yes, obviously, not great that he kind of has to step in like that and then kind of rush the field just because it means that there's people running onto the field. But at the same time, that's what he's there for, and to kind of protect Leo. And he takes his job seriously. I think I just saw his post recently on Instagram actually too about other security people in the stadium and everything. And he's there to protect Leo, and that's what his job is, and that's why he's there. So kudos to him. And sometimes you get tackled.
Sometimes you just get slide tackled. Are there any other really cool moments that stand out from those trips? I know I saw the crowd in Peru. There were people crying in the stands, just because they're there and they get to experience it. Just something to, the vast majority of us will never get to experience going on tour with this kind of emotional, godlike footballing figure. You just look up in the stands when you're on the field. You're like, what is even happening right now? They're all bowing or something.
Yeah, it's special everywhere we go, honestly. It was, Panama honestly was the loudest I think I've heard when we came out to warm-ups, where the whole stadium was full and they were all chanting Messi, Messi, and it was so loud. So that was a cool moment. In Peru, for some reason, I remember this. We were at the hotel and we were getting on the bus to go to the stadium, to the game. And there were tons of people inside the hotel kind of concourse. It was a huge kind of convention center type hotel. And there was just this one girl that was about maybe 13, 14 years old. And she was standing outside the bus, and I usually sit. So it's me, behind me is Luis Suarez, then is Jordi Alba, and then it's Leo Messi. So I'm on the same window side as Leo. So people go crazy on my side of the bus because they can sometimes see Luis and Leo through the window. And she was just holding up, I think it was a shin guard with a pen in her hand. And she was just holding it up, just straight up in the air and just bawling her eyes out, just crying. Just because I think it was just because, one, she probably wanted an autograph, but two, it was just because she saw those guys. And it was just about that's what I said when I said these people, these Leo and those guys, they bring out so many emotions in people because of what they do or what they did on the field, right? They grew up watching them and they saved them in some sort of way where it was just this getaway for them to watch them play. And I don't know, for some reason that girl just sticks out as this image to me of okay, this is kind of why we do these trips, right? It's to give these people joy and happiness and to see their idol, to see their almost God play, and that image of that girl just holding up her shin guard, couldn't even move, and just cried so hard. It was just, I was she looked at me and I was I'm so sorry, I can't, I wish I could sign this, get this thing to sign for you or something like that. But I was just I was sad too. It was incredible to just see kind of just how much, like I said, those emotions come out in people.
It's just an intense display of just such an intense outpouring of emotion. They just can't physically process what they're seeing. And then you're just on the same window. You should have signed the shin guard.
I am. And it's I wish. Yeah, I wish. I could have faked Leo's signature, and she would have probably loved it. But it's like it's a little bit tough for me to kind of relate, right? Because like as weird as that sounds, I don't necessarily feel that way, right? Um, towards them. I have an immense amount of respect for everything they've done, and Leo is the greatest player to ever play this game, right? But that type of emotion, I think, is hard to kind of capture and to really feel. And at the same time, I'm a teammate of his, right? So I kind of have to rein it in at times and kind of make it almost normal to be there with him. So it's certainly really cool to always kind of experience it and see it. I mean, how would you feel if you met him? Like if you came down, you'd come to the training facility with me, walked in, and he was just there, and you just shook his hand.
I'm kind of impervious to this. So my crossover is usually in a different realm. It's in the like huge content creator realm, and I'll just run into those people. And usually I'm okay. Whether it's XQC, who's this huge streamer, and I remember we were at this. This is the way TwitchCon works, just logistically, is they have a bunch of parties after the convention, and it'll be a brand that basically wants to host a party and invite X number of big streamers. And so you'll end up just basically washing your hands in the bathroom at one of these things, and then this huge guy walks out, and you're just, oh, there he is. Right. And that stuff has never really rattled me before. There is one person that's ever like I kind of lost who I was when I was talking to them. And that would be Tony Bennett, who was the coach of Virginia basketball, where I went to the University of Virginia. And he was, you know, in college basketball, the coach is everything. They recruit the players, they set up the plays, whatever. And our basketball team was so good, and it was all Tony Bennett. And this was back before I was doing YouTube. I was a sports broadcaster, and I got picked to do one Virginia basketball game play-by-play for ESPN 27 or whatever it was. And so we have to go to practice the day before, and you sit there and you take notes, and then you talk to the coach. And I remember I was shaking. I was physically shaking. I'm like, this is not okay, right? I've met Derek Brooks from my favorite Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. I met all these people doing sports broadcasting stuff, and I was always cool with it. But for some reason, the aura just of that, because it's the same thing that these people have with Messi, is the memories that he's given them, the influence of what he's done over just their life. I mean, I have so much happiness that exists because of what Tony Bennett did with Virginia basketball. Winning that national championship, I cried in the stands when Virginia won that national championship led by Tony Bennett. So I'm standing there just like, I can't, and he's the nicest guy ever, of course. Those guys honestly often are, because they have to deal with that sort of thing a good amount. Messi, obviously, to the nth degree more. But the thing is, you're conscious of it. You know, if you're talking to Taylor, if you're talking to even maybe a Jordi Alba, it doesn't cross your mind at all or very rarely. But if you're talking to Leo Messi, there's just always that thing that pops up once in a while where you're like, this is Messi. That he's just here. We're just changing in the locker room. At least that's how I would imagine it goes. Obviously, I'm not you.
Oh, 100%. I mean, there's moments every day that you pinch yourself. Like I would be lying if I said that, you know, like, I mean, in Peru, he put the captain's armband on me. Like, talk about a moment like, oh my gosh, guys, like, come on. You know, like that, you come on the field and then he puts the captain's armband on you. Like, whew, you know, and now in Panama, I think it was Sergio Busquets, who put the captain's armband on me. Like, you know, you're like there, you know, it's incredible to, I mean, those moments, I can't even describe them, because like who the hell am I to be able to take that captain's armband from him in a game, you know, even if it's me coming on the field while he's leaving off the field, I don't get to play with him. But you know, at the same time, I am trying to be conscious of all these moments, seeing all these, you know, being present and really taking it all in. Just because I know that there'll be a time when it won't happen again anymore, and you know, when I look back and they'll all just be memories.
That's the sort of thing that you tell the grandkids, where they then think you are the coolest person who ever lived. 50 years from now when it's like, yeah, you remember Lionel Messi and how all the TV commentators talk about this guy named Lionel Messi? Yeah, I played with him. He used to put the captain's armband on me all the time, and that's another day at the office.
Yeah, but that's not how I'm trying to see it, right? Like I'm still trying to be like, okay, this is cool. Like you're in a privileged spot, and there's a lot of people that would give a lot to be in my position, give up a lot that would be my position. So I'm not trying to, just take it for granted either. So I'm trying to really make the most of it, and yeah, we'll see.
Well, I also have to ask. This is a tie-in to the first episode of, I guess, season 1 of this podcast. But it's been a year. He just handed you the captain's armband. Has Messi's English improved at all?
I mean, I want to say yes. He's had a year to practice, and remember how I gave you guys an update in the middle of the year where we had like a pretty good conversation in English, and yeah, he said to me there and then that he's taking classes. So I believe him. I don't think he's just lying to me about taking English classes. That would be something else. But
well, I can send my players to get foreign language training on Football Manager, but they can also fail that foreign language training. So they're not going to give them 100% chance there.
No, I don't have any firsthand knowledge as of yesterday of how good his English is, but I would assume that it is getting better. Yes, maybe not at the quickest rate possible, but certainly getting better slowly.
It's still better than his German, though.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yes, I don't know if he speaks any German. Probably zero.
Just hit him with the Guten Tag sometime. Be absolutely.
Yeah.
Now you want to talk about weird situations to be in. I never thought about this. Lionel Messi's English teacher, some random Spanish to English tutor that lives in Miami, just gets a call and, hey, so you're not going to believe what I'm about to ask you. Would you like to teach an unnamed player on Inter Miami how to speak English? You're like giving Lionel Messi homework.
Yeah. Hey. Maybe. That would be hilarious.
Do you think Lionel Messi's the type of guy that does his homework? I don't know. Would have been a while.
I don't know. It would have been a while, yes.
Dude was playing with the first team at 16, so it's not like he spent too much time doing homework.
But I think he's quite a disciplined guy. So, if anything like his work ethic and discipline type of stuff speaks to his real character, even outside of soccer, then I think he would.
Look, at the moment that he breaks the internet by doing a Nike commercial or something where he speaks in English, I'm going to be here for that. And you were there on the ground floor. Also, I hope he's sponsored by Nike. I don't know for sure, but I would assume he is. If not, I've just caused oh no, what is it?
Absolutely not. He's big Adidas.
Oh, it's
He's
Adidas.
Like Mr. Adidas.
You can see how emotionally invested I am in the apparel and shoe game.
You will never meet him now after you said that.
No.
Oh man.
All day I dream about soccer. That's 100% what I meant to say. Obviously.
I think that's why he actually went to the Super Bowl, because of an Adidas. It was like an Adidas trip, because Patrick Mahomes is a big Adidas athlete as well. And Messi obviously is, he's like his own Messi brand and everything within Adidas.
I'm sure. That's why I didn't really know which side he was on, because I feel like I just see commercials that are like, hi, I'm Messi. Here's my clothes. Like, this is it right here.
Yeah, no, it's been Adidas forever, I think. And they even were I think him and Luis, because Puma and Adidas are at the same town. This is like 15 minutes from my hometown. Their headquarters in Germany. They went during the offseason over there, I think, for a little trip. So they were basically like 15, 20 minutes from my hometown for a few days to visit those workers.
We're getting word from Alexi, by the way, that apparently they were founded by brothers. I had no idea Puma was German. I don't know why every company is German. It's like the secret German corporate takeover going on.
See, you're getting information from Alexi. I already know all this stuff just because it's literally like in my backyard.
That's fair. Yeah.
They both started Adidas together, and then they had a fight, and then one split up and started Puma. And Adi Dassler, he and the other brother, I don't know the name, the first
Puma
name, but also Dassler was the last name. Puma Dassler, yeah. Rudy Dassler. There you go, Alexi. Thank you. Adi Dassler, Adidas, started Adidas, and Rudy Dassler started Puma, and yes, that's
a
that.
real shame he didn't go with Rudy Das. That's exactly I mean, Adidas and Rudy Das would have been just. That would have made it complete. It's almost like picking Puma. He wanted the brotherly war to fade into history, which I guess I kind of respected. So now that I'm never meeting Lionel Messi, I'm freed up to do whatever I want with my life. Maybe I'll get sponsored by Nike someday.
But can we tie back to this Football Manager intro that we had? Because what are you doing with your life at the moment or next year?
Well,
other than
funny. I just had an
podcasting with me,
intervention
but like
with my parents.
this is what 4 hours a day, right? We just calculated this.
Mm-hmm.
So what is actually happening? Are you just going to continue playing the 24 version, or
No, I mean, I always listen to my mother, as everybody should. But I got
Yes.
great advice from my mom when I started this career, and that was that you really should not leave your entire career up to one game, because even if it seems really sound, if something goes wrong with it, you don't want somebody else to be in control of like what you have going forward. So I have always focused on trying to diversify my content. Obviously, it's not going super well if I'm still playing nearly 5 hours a day, but I have made a lot of football-oriented videos. I started the Zealandism channel, where I make multiple videos a day about often kind of dumb and silly football stories. And we started the documentary series, which was Hidden Grounds, which is kind of the long-term vision. And then obviously this podcast, where I spend a very healthy hour once a week talking about something that's not Football Manager, which is great for my mental. But the documentary, we're trying to do a lot more this year. We actually did one. We just finished filming it a couple of days ago, and I'm just getting over a cold that I got right at the end of that trip, just to record this podcast in the nick of time. So I'm playing injured today. How am I doing?
doing pretty well? Yeah, this has been a really good first run.
That's
I
great,
think.
because I have the toilet paper right here in case I needed to blow my nose. So that's Now we are out of tissues. That's the status update.
Oh no.
I know. But the episode of Hidden Grounds we recorded, which if you don't know is this documentary series where we cover interesting football stories around the world. We just recorded. It was super interesting, and that was why I was in the Dominican Republic. It's a Haitian team that qualified for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. So technically you guys could play against each other. And they can't play their home games in Haiti because of the current political situation. And so they played their home game in the Dominican Republic. And everybody that plays in the team is from Haiti. It is not a league that has really any foreign input. It's the first time ever this team has won the league. And the team's actual name is called Real Hope Football Academy. That's the name of the team.
Oh.
And the point of the team, it was founded 11 years ago in March, was to give young kids an opportunity to use football to kind of get out of Haiti. And then the club owner, who is a fabulous guy, the idea was basically go out of Haiti, get that experience, and then bring that experience back to Haiti to better it. And it was such a convincing sales pitch that in 11 years, they went from the third division to the second division to the first division. And there were a couple of historically very good teams that kind of dominate the Haitian league, and they beat all of them in the last season and won the league for the first time. And now they're here. And I think the oldest guy on the team's 25 or 26, because they just recruited this group of super young guys. And some of them have gone to Central America. Some of them have gone to Brazil. One guy who played with Seattle Sounders actually was on Inter Miami before you were, and then hurt his knee. And then he ended up back at Real Hope to try and relaunch his career after he hurt his knee. But it's a fascinating story. And then, of course, they played Cruz Azul, who finished first in the Mexican League pre-playoffs last year. So it was just unbelievable David and Goliath stuff.
That sounds really interesting. It's a cool little documentary. I gotta ask Fafa Picot, our newest signing from Inter Miami. He's Haitian, or he plays for the national team. Gotta ask him about that team if he knows anything about it.
He'll definitely know it. I'll tell you what, that language, Haitian Creole, is awesome.
Yeah.
It is so cool. It's like French, but with just the right twist on it. It's like non-pretentious French. But just hit him with a bonsoir in training and just see how he's.
Yeah. He speaks speaks Spanish, German because he played in the second Bundesliga for St. Pauli. He speaks Haitian. Obviously, he speaks French, Italian. He speaks like 6 different languages. This guy is crazy, but he's such a good guy. And if you met some interesting people there, I'm sure as well, though.
Oh, we did. And actually we had a language related joke that we'd use to break the ice, because it's actually quite difficult interviewing people through a translator. You can't really bounce off what they say. You have to have a lot of trust with the translator that they're passing your words along the right way, especially when you're asking about complex things like political issues or whatever. Yeah. And so it takes a lot of work beforehand, but we would try and lighten the mood because it's all very intimidating. Imagine you've never really left Haiti and then, 2 generic looking white dudes show up with a bunch of lights and cameras, right, to start asking you questions. It's a weird situation before you break the ice. But the joke we would use is, what do you call somebody who speaks 3 languages? Trilingual. What do you call somebody who speaks 2 languages? Bilingual. What do you call somebody that speaks 1 language? American. It worked every time. And I think the way the translator is telling it too, because he's somebody that went to language school and he's from Port-au-Prince and was just a fabulous guy named Curvins. He enjoyed telling that joke a little too much, I think. He's he's secretly making fun of me to them, but it worked. No, they were nice. That was another thing. They're just so nice. So nice. I mean, the optics of, we're a documentary film crew. We're coming to cover a Haitian team. They're obviously struggling to pay for things that CONCACAF's making them pay for, right? Like, it's not easy. The owners are basically just gigging out of their pocket to pay for things like security protection for Cruz Azul and that sort of stuff that normal clubs don't even bat an eye paying for.
Yeah.
And we show up and he's like, "Oh, you're eating with us." What? Okay. So he's feeding the entire crew, our driver, our translator, our assistant guy, Adler, me. We're eating every meal. I keep trying to give him money. It took me 2 days to be able to pay him back for the food that he was giving us, because they're just so, they're very, very, very kind people, which makes it all the more sad when you hear the stories that come out of Haiti, and they hate all that stuff too. Because they feel like nobody ever talks about the fact that 12 million people live there, and most of them are, even if they're not doing great, they're not like in a horrible situation, and they have friends and families and beaches and food and happiness and stuff. And that's what they really wanted to. That and how proud they are to be Haitian was another very, very striking thing.
Yeah.
But the most striking thing was obviously the food, because I don't know if you've ever sat in the back of a Dominican Republic kind of the beat up part of town. You ever have that mental image of a Central American city where there's all the houses that are all smushed together? And we're sitting in the back of that.
I have the image.
We're sitting in the back of that, and we've got the cook for the team who's cooked for them for 10 years. They bring her everywhere because the team complains about the food if she's not cooking. She went to Jamaica. She went to Trinidad for the last match they had to play in the Caribbean Cup. She goes with the team. And just having her, she's just preparing these meals in these giant pots. She knows how to cook without electricity. It's just straight like gas that they bring in on this portable thing. And she gave it to us. And it was legume, I think. It's some traditional Haitian dish, and it means smashed vegetables. It's rice, crushed up vegetables, and they just throw in bits of meat. And she simmers it for an ungodly amount of time. I was floating while I was eating that. Man.
Nice.
That's It's the aesthetic too. It's sick. Always the aesthetic, isn't it?
It's awesome.
She's ladling it over, and she only knows like one word in English, and it's enjoy. So she just ladles it over to you and says, "Enjoy." Like, thank you so much. I think I said mercy.
That's cool. What is that part of the documentary? When is that coming out?
It'll be about 2 or 3 months from now. But we actually we improvised and just interviewed her. So we talked to her all about all the different stuff, and the coach was it was the owner who was basically said, "Yeah, we didn't bring her to one trip that we had to go on, and 3 of the players got sick, and they kept complaining about how much their stomach hurt, and we went, you know what, never again. We're gonna bring her." She was just a friend too. They asked her, her husband was on the board, and he just went home and was like, "The board's looking for a cook. Do you think you could do it?" And she's like, "I could do it. Come on. Let me in here." I mean, look, I'm not
amazing.
saying that Inter Miami's cooks are bad. I'm just saying that she could probably go toe to toe with any cook that you've had in your professional time.
Don't tell our chef that. Ooh, man, we'll take it personal.
They're all very confident. She's real cocky about her cooking. Like, she's so humble about everything. But then you brought up, like, oh, were you ever nervous cooking for this many players? She's like, no. Everybody loves when I cook. Like, okay, right.
Yeah, great.
Perfect.
That's it. Now she's got some American friends too.
Yeah, I wish. Our translator's coming to New York in May, so that's going to be my exciting. I'll get to return the favor, even though he speaks fluent English. I'll just pretend he can't speak New Yorker, and then help him out with that. But everything around the football team was great, and they played really well. It just goes to show that no matter how much fancy training you have, or whether you go up in the good academies or not, they've trained their whole life in Haiti. And they had the technique. They had they're hitting volleys. They're nutmegging people. It's amazing what you can do when you just go out there and believe you can play against somebody.
That's cool. Well, hopefully they beat Cruz Azul and move on.
Well, they've never been to a city as big as Mexico City before, but if they can handle the shock of seeing and like being in a place like that, I think they could give them a game, because they love the crowd and they love the Cruz Azul fans traveled to Santiago, and they'd be whistling at them, and they'd just be like, "Come on!" They were like hyping them up because they just loved the atmosphere. They thought it was the coolest thing.
That's amazing. That's cool.
But we have we teased it earlier. We've got some good questions that you guys threw around, so it is time for us to ask those questions and rock and roll. The question's from Let's Do It 9837. I have a question for Gressel. If he had the ability to sign one player to his team, this is tough. With no restrictions, none of the crazy MLS stuff, you could sign one player for your team. Who are you signing?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, it has to be probably the best player in the world right now, right? And a guy that is young, that would probably Lamine Yamal.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that is such a connoisseur's answer.
Barcelona guy, fits right in. Like, he would tear this league up because he's been unbelievable. I think
he's silly. He's also already kind of like finished his career. He won the Euros. He's 17. Okay. He plays Messi's position though. So where are you going to put Lamine Yamal in your?
You'll fit them on there. You'll fit them on the team sheet together.
All right. I know I wasn't asked. I'd go Erling Haaland. I think he'd fit in the team really well. You just play two up top and put Messi kind of floating behind them somewhere and have the rest of the team work there. But that's just me. Yeah. That's actually the audition tape I sent to Inter Miami. They didn't like the idea very much. They didn't think it was very feasible. Yeah. The next question comes from Lamb Goes Woof. Hopefully, MLS adopts a group stage playoff format before the knockouts next season. I would love it.
Where's the question?
I would love it. That was it. That is basically the question. Would you like that?
That would be interesting. A knockout, like a group stage. So you'd have like a group of 3 maybe before. Yeah, I mean, hey, I know MLS loves to add games and loves to add revenue streams by adding games. So maybe there'll be another one in there, but I don't see it happening as of now. But it would be an interesting thought I'd never even thought about.
Then they'd make it home and away, and all of a sudden it becomes a second little mini season like the Mexican playoffs, and it's only a matter of time.
It's the problem. The teams that don't make the playoffs, what are they going to do? Just sit around at home and do nothing for 2 months?
You went to Dominican Republic, right? That was hang
out a little bit.
Go to Punta Cana. We'll get you a deal in the hotel, like a league-wide deal. The last question's from Barrio7, said Zealand, unlike the imposter Zealandism, which that's true, I got to stay lore appropriate here. Zealandism is technically not me. I don't associate with any of the takes that person may or may not have. You love managing teams and seem to have the tactical knowledge to do so. Does it ever tickle to actually try and coach a team in real life? I have a pretty simple answer to this. I would love to do a charity game or one of the, if you put me in the manager of the Sidemen match or something, I'm sure I would have a great time, and I'd really try to get in the weeds and do it. But literally all of my managerial experience is virtual. And sure, I've done interviews with managers where they try to test my tactical knowledge, and I actually did pretty well, but I don't even know where to put the cones on the field for a training session. Like, I don't even remember. Right. So,
well, that's what assistant coaches are for.
Yeah, that's true. If you could hire me 20 assistant coaches, maybe. No, I honestly, I love my life and what I do and where I'm at right now. And I know if I wanted to actually do it, what I would have to go through in the travel and the, I want to say committing yourself to the unknown, but the courses and all of the stuff, I know what that road would look like. And it right now, I guess it's just not something that interests me. I prefer virtual managing and talking about the game without the burden of actually being involved in it. But I would love to do it once. And who knows, maybe I manage a charity match and I go, this is my calling. This is what I want to do.
One day we will manage a team together. How about that?
That would be...
If I go through this stuff, and I think I already have one of the licenses by actually playing for so many years professional, so I already have a coaching license, so I can technically be a coach at a certain level. And we'll just do a player manager charity event, a charity game.
Like the final match at your youth camp or something. Just one of those types of things.
Yeah, we'll go at it and live stream it.
Oh, perfect.
While we do it.
Oh, I've got the kit for that. That'll be great. Yeah, no, I can practice my dugout poses to make it look like we're really breaking stuff down on the tablet when we're actually playing like Flappy Bird or whatever's popular in the App Store. Yeah.
You got to get the earpiece in and all that stuff too.
Yeah.
From the guy above, sitting
exactly.
in the stands.
No, the other team scores a goal, and I just walk up to you looking like I'm saying something super important, like we know exactly what happened, and we're going to be able to stop it next time. 100%. We're already there.
Yeah, that's it.
We're ready. Thank you guys so much for all of your questions. Now that we've got our managerial trajectory settled, I believe that's where we're going to leave it. But don't worry, we're not going away for 3 months. Season 2 of the Player Manager Podcast is here. And episode 2 will be next week, even if I still have a cold.